Hey guys, the Explorer 4 here, the Horror Boy. Welcome back to some more reviews, and welcome back to the Hellraiser reviews. Today we're going to be getting to Hellraiser Hellworld, which is the 8th Hellraiser film. This is the third and final movie to be directed by Rick Bota in the Hellraiser series. And came out in 2005. This is actually the second Hellraiser movie to come out in 2005, so obviously this was being done back to back. Gets a 4.2. And Hellraiser Hellworld, I'm not a big fan of this one. I think it still has a lot of problems, but I'd say so far I like it better than Bloodline and I'd say Hellseeker and Deader, but it's really not saying much. I'm really still not a big fan of this movie. I wouldn't say it's as bad as those films. Just to me, those movies had a lot of problems. This one, and we'll get into in a second, this one has some things in it that I thought were decent. Things that, and ideas that I think if done better, if I thought were done, I don't know, because this was not really meant to be a Hellraiser movie. Once again, this was a script that was just laying around somewhere. They seen it, they go, oh my god, we can put Hellraiser and put some Pinhead in there, and actually, in this movie, this is a movie where you don't see the real Pinhead until the very end of the movie, technically. And I mean, you do see Pinhead throughout, but we'll get to in a second. You don't see the actual Pinhead till the end of the movies. So, Hellraiser Hellworld, basically you have this game, this online game based off of Hellraiser, and there was this guy who played it and got too obsessed with it, ended up dying, and one of his friends ends up blaming the other friends for what happened. It's basically some time later, and they get invited to go to this rave in a place called Hellworld. It's this big giant mansion. There's a party going on. A lot of Hellraiser themed stuff as well. Pinhead and the Cenobites show up and start killing people. You have Lance Henriksen in this movie. Him being a very shady character. And they're trying to figure out what's going on. How Pinhead is there. How the Cenobites are there. Because nobody opened any boxes. And the whole movie is them basically... It's like a slasher movie. It's like a Hellraiser movie that is a straight up slasher movie. Hellraiser 3, you could say it's still trying to be Hellraiser. It's still trying to be that more slow burn, kind of trying to have that Hellraiser tone. Here, they're going for an all out slasher movie. And I felt like it would have worked better if they would have just made this the original script. Just make it the original idea. You don't put Pinhead in it. You don't put Hellraiser in it. I think it'll be good. I think where the problems come from is when you start plugging in Hellraiser and start plugging in Pinhead. That's when a lot of the issues with this movie start to arise. And it becomes very obvious while you're watching this movie that it was not meant to be a Hellraiser movie, and especially the ending twist, which I thought not only wasn't very Hellraiser, but just didn't make sense. And I do want to get into the positive things. First of all, I thought the cast wasn't bad. The lead girl, I thought, didn't do terrible. The other guy, the lead guy, I didn't think he did a bad job. The characters overall, their acting wasn't terrible. They weren't annoying. They were just basic. I could deal with the characters in this movie. The acting wasn't terrible. Wasn't Oscar worthy, but it wasn't terrible. I also enjoy some of the practical effects when they're there. There are some moments where there are some fun slasher things. People getting their heads cut off. People getting impaled by a giant hook. The practical effects do look decent. Pinhead in this movie does have some decent dialogue. He is in this movie throughout. Not a whole lot, but he is there. I like the idea of the movie. I love the idea of this rave called Hellworld and it being based off of the Hellraiser series. I like how these characters know about the box and know about the rules. I like how it's taken a different approach about, nobody opened the box, so how are these Cenobites here? I like that. It made it interesting and different, because I've always wondered in a Hellraiser movie, what if there was another way that the Cenobites could get into Earth? You know, what if they escaped the box? Nobody opened the box. They kind of escaped it, and they're let loose in the world. Kind of like Hell on Earth, but it's more of them just escaping this box. But yeah, I like that idea. Kept you interested, kept you intrigued as to, like, okay, they are right. They never opened a box, so how are the Cenobites here? The movie is filmed pretty good. This one actually does have a decent look to it. There are certain scenes that do look pretty good, I must say. It has a little bit of a mood to it. I wouldn't say it's creepy or scary, but it's got an interesting look to it. It's filmed pretty well. But for me, I still can't, even though I like this a little bit more than Bloodline and Hellseeker and Deader, I really can't say it's a great movie. Why? Because Pinhead, even though he's in this movie, the twist of this film I thought was completely ridiculous. It was really one of the worst twists in the Hellraiser films. Because it didn't make sense. And basically what you find out is, and this is Hellraiser 8, so people are like, well, spoiler alerts. Hellraiser 8 came out in 2005. If you haven't seen it now, go watch it. You're not really missing much. It's Hellraiser 8, Hellworld. But you found out that Lance Henriksen buried these kids in the back of this house, put phones in the coffins, put like little tubes so they could breathe air, so they wouldn't die from suffocation. He buried them back there, drugged them up, and they were hallucinating this entire movie. So the Pinhead, Cenobites, the party, the people they meet there, everything they see in that house is in their imagination. The whole movie was their imagination. And they do this bullshit of, oh yeah, well, one guy died from fear. He got scared to death. The other guy, he died because he didn't have his asthma treatment. And the other girl gashed her neck when she was in the coffin. And that's how they all died. And the way that the characters escape from these coffins is lame. You have a ghost appearing, which you found out that Lance Henriksen is the son to the teenager that had died at the beginning of the movie. And you find out that teenager died because you opened the puzzle box. So I guess Lance Henriksen's character was going to get revenge for his son. But even the lead guy was like, you know, you were never there for your son. He was abandoned. He was alone. You know, you never cared for him. You know, we were there to help him up. You know, where were you at? So you're kind of wondering, okay, Lance Henriksen's character basically, if you're believing what this character's saying, abandoned his son. Then when his son dies, he tries to play Mr. Retribution, Mr. Revenge, and go after these kids. It didn't really make sense to me. And that whole twist ending was just completely, in my opinion, just stupid. I thought it was one of the worst twists in the Hellraiser series. Just really didn't make sense, and it felt really complicated. Like a really complicated way to do revenge. Just didn't get it. And the movie, of course, they have to end the movie with the real Pinhead and the real Cenobites coming in and killing Lance Henriksen. They basically cut him in half, or like cut him like 3 pieces. And he falls apart in CGI. It looked pretty bad. But overall, Hellraiser Hellworld, there are some things in this movie that I thought if it was done and just called Hellworld or just called another project, it would work better. Because really, if you took out Pinhead, besides the ending, you wouldn't even really need Pinhead in this movie at all. Technically, you're not seeing the real Cenobites in this movie. And that twist really hurts the movie. Because it would have been cool having, you know, Pinhead and the Cenobites leaving hell and just murdering people and trying to figure out how to get them back in the box. It had potential, just not a big fan of that ending. There are just certain scenes I thought were just weird and didn't make sense. Like when they first get to this party, they're talking to people, everything's normal. And then all of a sudden, people start ignoring them, and then everybody disappears, and they start seeing weird things, people hanging from chains from the ceiling. There's a scene where a guy, one of the lead guys, or I think it is the lead guy, he gets handed this puzzle box, and like these blades come through his thumb, and it looks like his blood is like a weird color, not even like red, like a weird ink-looking blood. But that was done in CGI. There's just, not much for the Cenobites to really do in this movie. They are in it throughout, but they really just show up and kill people. You're not really sure, like, why the Cenobites, like, why was this even called Hellraiser? Like, this and Deader are the two movies I look at and I go, why was this called Hellraiser? This was obviously not meant to be Hellraiser at all. Why did they, just to get money, I guess. But I don't know, man. Like, as far as the bad things, music, once again, not very good. It is kind of slow. It is kind of boring. There are some ideas that don't work for me that I thought were silly or goofy or stupid. Like this one scene where this chick sees her dead friends and they start chasing around this house. Just didn't work for me. I thought it was just a stupid idea. It just boring, slow. Didn't really need to be called Hellraiser. Really a pointless movie if you think about it. Kind of serves no purpose. But the good things, though, I will admit, it is better than Deader and Hellseeker and Bloodline. I'll say it's better than those movies. I wouldn't say it's as good as Inferno, though. Inferno, I thought, was way better than 4 and anything that came after Part 5. Inferno was a good movie. This, I would say it's better than Bloodline. Just had more to it than Bloodline did, personally. But I don't know. It's better than certain sequels, but still, overall, I'm not a big fan of this movie. Has its good things, has bad things. Made me hiccup right there, but that could be my review. Hiccup. That's my review of Hellraiser Hellworld. But, yeah, Hellraiser Hellworld, I'll give it a 4. It had some things that I appreciate, different ideas, different takes on certain things. Certain ideas I like. They were trying with this movie to make it a little bit more different. I can appreciate that. But overall, Hellworld really isn't anything special, and you're not really missing much if you haven't seen it. So yeah, Hellraiser 8, Hellraiser Hellworld. I'm going to give it a 4. If you've seen the movie, let me know your thoughts on this one in the comments below. That'll be it for my reviews of the ones in this pack. So, we already got through most of the reviews. We only got to get through 2 more. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching my review on Hellraiser Hellworld. Hope you enjoyed. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. What would you rank it? Let me know in the comments below. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate all the support on these reviews. You guys tagging along with me along the way is keeping me in the game. It's keeping me in the fight. It's keep watching these movies because it is getting difficult to watch these movies. Actually, tonight I just got done watching Hellraiser Revelations, and oh my fucking god, was it a test. But anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching the review. Hope you enjoyed. The Explorer of Horrors out, and I'll see you guys later. Have a good night, guys. Peace. See you guys.